Okay.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Tell us your name and tell us about your project.
Well, my name is Albert Michelson, and the project that me and my partner set off on was to observe light's path through the ether in respect to the Earth's motion. And we planned on doing so using a device that I created about 7 years ago in 1881 called the interferometer.
So, what did you guys set out to do or find?
Well, as you know, the ether is, or at least was believed to be, the medium that light traveled through. To explain this briefly, similar to sound waves, which need a medium to travel through, usually air, we believed light to travel through something called the luminiferous ether. And we were planning, our goal was to calculate Earth's velocity in relation to the luminiferous ether.
And did you accomplish your goal?
Well, no. According to our calculations, using my interferometer, we expected to see about a movement of 0.04 fringes, but what we actually saw was no movement at all. And that data, to say that it surprised me and my colleague, that would be an understatement, because that data heavily indicates that either everything that we understand about the ether is wrong, or that it doesn't exist.
Wow. Did that surprise you?
Strongly, yes. I think that it would surprise anyone in our position.
So, what was your role in this project?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I designed the optical device used in our experiment, but I also led the data collection. With my expertise in this field, alongside my partner, who is highly skilled in the lab, I felt that we had enough knowledge to properly execute with enough precision for this kind of experiment.
You've mentioned your partner several times. Who else was involved in this project?
Yes, of course. Should have mentioned him earlier. Mr. Edward Morley was the man that I set off this endeavor with. He's an excellent experimentalist and wonderful in the lab. So without him, this project would have never had the precision that it needed. He helped dial in all of our instruments and just guaranteed the quality that is required for this kind of experiment.
Where did this project occur?
Well, it took place in Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. Within our lab, we had the interferometer mounted to a stone block, which was floating in a pool of mercury. We did this to mitigate any outside interference, as the data we were trying to collect required very precise measurements.
Are there any other significant events happening around the world right now?
Well, off the top of my head, I can think of Maxwell has released his dynamical theory of electromagnetic fields not too long ago. And I've heard that there's a man named Heinrich Hertz who's just begun displaying radio waves that seem to match Maxwell's predictions fairly well. Aside from that, I think that what we have just done will be one of the significant events of our time.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Yes it is.
So, if that ends up being the case, what impact do you see this having on the scientific community as a whole?
Well, I expect to see huge impact, just because up until this point, most everyone agreed that light did travel through the ether. And with our newfound data, it seems to not be the case. So I expect to see a lot more investigation revolving around the ether. And it wouldn't surprise me if, scientists are at a tipping point of being a lot more inquisitive about things that they already knew. Because everyone knew that the ether existed, but like I said, the data doesn't seem to suggest it. So if light isn't, dependent on the motion of its source, we don't really know what light is relative to anymore. And I'm not sure.
What do you hope is the next big breakthrough?
Next big breakthrough. Well, off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure, but what I do know is that I hope some years in the future, the next great physicist will use my discoveries to pave the way for the generation after them, just as I've tried to and hopefully succeeded in paving the way for the generation after me.
Do you know of anyone who could be the next great physicist?
No, not as of now. I could hope that maybe they would be named Albert too.
Well, if there are any young Alberts out there listening, maybe it's your turn next. Thank you for your time, Mr. Michelson. I wish you the best of luck on your next endeavor.
Thank you.